Chapter 4. The Ascending Temptations. The following summer, as the scorching sun beat down upon the emerald fairways of shady pines, Mountain Cap found himself riding the crest of a wave of success so monumental, it felt like he was surfing atop a tsunami of triumph. With each swing of his Vaseline-slathered club, he felt the weight of his past sins melting away like a snow cone in the Sahara, replaced by the sweet taste of victory and the promise of a brighter future. Armed with his trusty spreadsheets, Mountain had transformed himself from a mere caddy into a veritable golfing virtuoso, dazzling spectators and opponents alike with his uncanny ability to read the greens and sink putts with the precision of a surgeon performing open-heart surgery. His skills on the course were so legendary, they bordered on the supernatural. Some even whispered that he had made a Faustian bargain, a deal with the devil himself to achieve such a level of mastery. But Mountain's talents extended far beyond the confines of just the fairway. With the strategic acumen of a chess grandmaster and the cunning of a fox in a henhouse, he had become something of a gambling prodigy, earning a tidy sum by placing bets on golf tournaments with the precision of a Wall Street trader predicting the stock market. His winnings were so vast for someone of his young age that they would make even the most spoiled high school kids blush with envy. And yet, despite his newly found success, Mountain remained humble, his feet firmly planted on the ground even as his star began to soar to dizzying heights. He knew that each new victory came with its own set of challenges, and he was always looking for new ways to test his limits and push the boundaries of what was possible. So when the opportunity arose to bring his Beanfield High School friend Johnny Pulaski into the fold at Shady Pines, Mountain jumped at the chance with the enthusiasm of a kid in a candy store. Johnny, with his devil-may-care attitude and keen radar for mischief, was like a breath of fresh air caddying on the fairways, injecting a healthy dose of chaos into Mountain's carefully ordered world. Together, they made an unlikely pair. Mountain, the calculating strategist with a spreadsheet for a brain, and Johnny, the wild card with a heart of gold, but somehow it worked for the two of them. It was like watching a symphony conductor team up with a rock star to create the greatest concert the world had ever seen. And so, as the summer stretched on and the days grew longer, Mountain Cap found himself living the dream, a dream of success and prosperity, of friendship and camaraderie. And though he knew that the road ahead would be filled with challenges and obstacles greater than the size of Mount Everest, he intended to face it with the same steely determination that had carried him through so many trials before. For Mountain Cap was not just a golfer, nor was he just a caddy. He was a force of nature, a whirlwind of talent and ambition that swept through the world of local golf like a tornado tearing through a trailer park. And as he stood on the threshold of a new chapter in his life, he knew that the best was yet to come. With a wink to the heavens and a grin as wide as the 18th green, Mountain Cap teed up his ball and prepared to take on whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that with his friend Johnny Pulaski and his trusty spreadsheets and golf balls by his side, he could conquer the world of golf, one stroke at a time. But as the sweltering summer sun beat down upon the manicured greens of Shady Pines, Mountain Cap and Johnny Pulaski found themselves hurtling headfirst into a whirlwind of debauchery and excess that would make the wildest frat party look like a tea party at the local retirement home. What had started as innocent fun soon morphed into a full-blown circus of drinking, drugs, and general mayhem, with Mountain and Johnny leading the charge like two drunken pirates on a quest for buried treasure. Their escapades took them to the fabled shores of Moni Moni Island, a local haven for misfits and ne'er-do-wells where the sun always shone a little brighter and the drinks flowed a little stronger. Here, amidst the swaying, weeping willow trees and the sounds of classic rock, Mountain and Johnny found themselves in the company of a motley crew of characters straight out of a Jimmy Buffett song, including a group of old salts who sported bright yellow banana hammocks with the swagger of seasoned sailors and regaled them with tales of lost loves and epic sea voyages. Life on the island was much easier than life on the golf course. The boaters were much less judgy than the golfers tended to be and wore much less clothing. Mountain and Johnny found the latter to be a double-edged sword. one of the other regular partiers on the island, had been booted out of Shady Pines Country Club a couple of years before and took Johnny and Mountain under his wing, often helping them with boating problems well beyond their comprehension. Mountain felt bad that he and Johnny always called the man 1-2-teat-toe behind his back, but could not help themselves because the man had only one nipple, and they each drank far too much to be fully in control of their own tongues. Boating is every bit as much of a sport as golf is, the one-nippled man would assert to Mountain and Johnny. Mountain silently disagreed. With each passing day, Mountain and Johnny golfed and worked less, their priorities shifting from the fairways to the bottom of a bottle and the next wild island party. They drank until the stars danced in their eyes and the world spun like a tilt-a-whirl, stumbling through the nights with the reckless abandon of sailors on shore leave and the grace of newborn foals on ice. And Johnny, with his silver tongue and devilish grin, was always the life of the party, wooing women with the smoothness of a seasoned Casanova and leaving a trail of broken hearts in his wake. He was a master of the art of womanizing, a skill he wielded with the finesse of a maestro conducting a symphony, and it wasn't long before he had a string of adoring admirers wrapped around his little finger like so many strands of spaghetti. But while Johnny reveled in the chaos and the mayhem, Mountain couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt gnawing at the edges of his conscience like a hungry terrier with a bone. He knew that they were teetering dangerously close to the edge of disaster, that their wild antics could spell the end of their time at Shady Pines and the beginning of a long road of regret paved with both broken dreams and shattered ambitions. And yet, try as he might to rein in his friend's wild impulses, Mountain found himself swept along by the tide of Johnny's boundless energy and infectious enthusiasm, careening down a slippery slope of bad decisions and even worse hangovers. Together, they tipped cows in the moonlit fields and surfed behind golf carts in the pouring rain, laughing until their sides ached and their faces hurt from smiling. But it was Johnny who always took things to the next level, who pushed the boundaries of propriety and decency with a reckless abandon that bordered on madness. He once drank tequila from an ashtray at a party, earning himself a round of applause and a one-way ticket to the emergency room. And who could forget the time he put his butt through the windshield of a parked car while mooning the unsuspecting occupants inside, leaving a trail of shattered glass and stunned onlookers in his wake. By the end of the summer, Johnny had found himself a girlfriend, a fiery brunette with a craving for adventure and a smile that could light up a room. And as luck would have it, she lived right next door to Mountain Cap, much to his dismay. But for Mountain, the summer had taken its toll, leaving him with nothing but a job at Shady Pines and a head full of memories that he could barely make sense of through the haze of alcohol and regret. And yet, as he stood on the threshold of a new day, he couldn't help but to wonder what other adventures lay in store, what other misadventures awaited him on the roller coaster ride of life. With a wink to the heavens and a grin as wide as the 18th green, Mountain Cap prepared to take on whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that with Johnny Pulaski by his side, that anything was possible even if it meant getting in trouble at work, but miraculously avoiding getting fired.